My name is Carolyn, and I talk to the spirit world. Travel with me to a dimension filled with love, light, and joyful surprises. Welcome to Carolyn's Psychic Playroom.
Hi everybody, Carolyn Wilkins here, welcoming you to the Spring 2022 episode of Carolyn's Psychic Playroom. I am thrilled and honored to be with you today on this beautiful, if somewhat frigid day in late March. The sun is out. The flowers are poking up their heads despite the freezing temperature, and hopefully they know something that we don't know, which is soon and very soon it's really going to be genuine spring. So on that positive note and welcoming you to spring, I'm going to talk just a little bit about what we're going to be doing in Carolyn Psychic Playroom Spring Edition. So I am so excited. I have a wonderful guest to share with you guys today. Her name is Krista Stanley, and I'm just going to read you a little bit about her so you can get a little flavor for how cool this interview is going to be. Krista Stanley, Ph.D., is a mystic, a teacher, an essayist, and a gardener. Maybe she'll be able to help us with this spring situation here. She recently completed a 40-year career in corporate business management to dedicate herself to her spiritual work. Krista has earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Wisdom Studies from Ubiquity University Wisdom School of Graduate Studies. She's certified as an evidential medium and a trance channel, a dream ambassador for Robert Moss's active dream work, and a non-NGH certified consulting hypnotist. All right, so I want you to just take that in for a minute. She's got a doctorate in spiritual studies. She's a medium, both a trance medium and an evidential medium, and she does dream work. So she is very, very versatile. She's very, very knowledgeable, and we're going to be talking with her today about all these wonderful topics. But first, I always like to share a little bit of what I'm doing. As you know, in addition to being a trance channel, an evidential medium, a psychic, a healer, I am also a musician. And in this capacity as a musician, I have combined several of my gifts, my gift of psychic ability, my gift of mediumship, and my music, and I've combined this all into one offering that I call Akashic Piano Trance Healing. And if you have been with me for a while, you know that Akashic Piano Trance Healing refers to, number one, my connection to the Akashic records, where the wisdom of our souls is stored. Number two, that it involves the piano. And number three, it involves me entering a light, altered state, a trance state, in which I offer you, my beloved listeners, healing. So Akashic Piano Trance Healing is what I do. And if you're curious about this or would like to receive a private session with me, in which we answer your questions from the Akashic records and offer healing vibrations via my trance piano playing. If that sounds interesting to you, please stop by my website, www.carolynwilkins.com. And if you go under the Services tab, you can read all about it. For now, what I would like to do is to share with you a little piano trance to set the vibe for our conversation today. As I've mentioned, this is my spring edition, so I'm going to ask that Spirit come through me not only to play music, but to help me select a card from this beautiful deck, which is by Kyle Gray. It's called the Gateway of Activation Tarot. I'm going to ask to be guided to select a card that I will then share with you and interpret for you, after which I'm going to offer some piano trance healing music to help really lock in this vibe for you so that you can really feel, know, and experience the message of the card and the vibrations contained therein. So I'm going to ask that I'm guided to choose the card. I'm shuffling them right now. And let's see, what is going to be our card? What do we, the team here at Carolyn Psychic Playroom, what do we need to know in order to live our best spring 2022? So I'm pulling a card now, and that card is Soul Star Activation. Can you see that? What a gorgeous card. First of all, the images in this deck are fantastic. That's why I like to use it. And you'll see here that it says fulfilling soul contracts and remembering who you are. Fulfilling soul contracts and remembering who you are. So what's coming to me psychically about that, many of us in former lifetimes or before we came to Earth in this lifetime, we made commitments and promises to ourselves and to Spirit to do certain things. These are the things that are often referred to as our life purpose, our mission here. We have certain things that we promised to do, and they may involve certain connections with certain people that we meet, or certain ways in which we have promised to act. And now is the time to go through and take a look at those things that you feel very strongly drawn to do. Sometimes there's no logical reason why we want to do something. We just know we have to. And sometimes when you have these compulsions, they are the result of contracts that we have made and promises that we made before we even came here to the earth plane. The second thing that it says here is remembering who you are. And this is so very important right now. We're all keenly aware that life here on the planet is not guaranteed. As my grandmother used to say, nothing is promised. We don't know how long we'll be here. We don't know what may be involved. Something could happen 1 minute from now, right? And so it's very important that we remember who we are, in that we are spirit. We are not just our mortal bodies. We are more than that. We are a part of a giant energy that is ongoing and way deeper than the transitory lifetimes that we live here. It's important to really call forth and recall our soul identity in order to really get to the bottom of we're more than the body, we're more than the conscious mind, we're here for a purpose, and it's time to get busy. I'll just say one more thing, which is that this card, if you take a look, it's a bird, right? It's a falcon. But what comes to mind is we are in spring. We are in the seasons of birds. I had just posted on my Facebook the other day from my walk around Alewife Reservation the incredible songs of the birds as they go into their spring mating season and whatever. It's incredible. And this sign of rebirth, renewal, connecting with what it is we're really here to do and getting busy to do it, that is the message of this particular card. I'll let you see it one more time. Soul Star Activation. And now I'm going to allow myself to go down into a little bit of a light trance, and I'm going to share with you some music. And this music, if you have not participated in my piano trances before, this music is not what I would call regular music. I do play regular music, but this is not that. This is sound vibrations. There's not necessarily a designated melody or harmony. I am in a deep enough trance to where the music is coming through me rather than from me. And it is my guides, my ancestors, my spiritual support team playing through me to offer you a vibration to help you make an even deeper connection with your soul star. So there you have it. Soul Star Activation, Akashic Piano Trance from me, Carolyn Marie Wilkins. I hope you felt the energy from that. If this moved you, if you feel called to this process, I do offer individual psychic readings in which I connect with the Akashic Record to answer those questions that you may have regarding issues involving your own soul's destiny. I give you a psychic reading, I offer you a tarot card, and then there's music. But for now, we're going to move into the interview segment of Carolyn's Psychic Playroom. And I am so excited to welcome Krista Stanley to the screen here. I'm going to read you just a little bit more of her bio. I read you some earlier, so you already know she is a Ph.D. with a Ph.D. in wisdom studies. We know that she's a trance channel. We know she's a dream ambassador. We know that she is a certified hypnotist. And I'll just read this last little part here about her. Dr. Stanley is passionate about all things anomalous. That already sounds like big fun. I'm going to ask her what she means when I'm talking to her. She's deeply committed to the sacred feminine as demonstrated in the lore of the Black Madonna, studying and traveling extensively in pursuit of that profound wisdom. And she's a contributing author in Quantum Psyche 2, Quantum Psychoanalysis. So, with all of that build up, I know that you're excited. I am super excited. And I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy this wonderful interview with Dr. Krista Stanley. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another fabulous interview on Carolyn's Psychic Playroom. I am so thrilled to have my very good buddy, Krista Stanley, here on the Playroom. And I read you a little bit of her biography, so I'm not going to repeat it again. Let's just leave it that. She is an extremely accomplished and gifted healer, medium, doctorate in wisdom studies, hypnotist, fascinated with the divine feminine. She's a traveler, and she's also a gardener. How very cool is that? So, Krista, welcome.
Thank you, Carolyn. I love to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, this is going to be fun. So, I always like to start by asking my guests a little bit about what sort of started them on this wacky woo woo journey that we're on. When did you first realize that you had psychic gifts, and what sort of set your journey in motion?
Um, I guess when I was little, I realized I had psychic gifts, but I didn't understand that's what they were. So, but I knew enough that it was different. It wasn't necessarily accepted. There wasn't anything or anyone who was really explaining what it was that was happening to me. So I really didn't want to have anything to do with it because I didn't understand it. It was confusing. There was no method to this madness. So I guess in my 40s, I had a midlife crisis. And I think now in hindsight, I know why I was having it. At the time, I didn't know. But there was something that was pushing me to figure out what was going on. So my approach was to study. I started with the Christian mystics. And it just felt, I guess I started with the mystics because it felt like they were doing what was happening to them was something that was happening to me, these kind of inexplicable connections and ability to just know things that you can't possibly know, and very active dream life that then interpenetrates your material world. And so I 12 years, I think I did coursework. I did a master's and a doctorate to try and figure out what the heck was going on. And it wasn't until I started writing my dissertation that I researched mediums.
Mm.
And when I started to see what they were doing, that's when I really recognized that what they were actually practicing was something that I just seemed to be doing. So that's what kind of got me into working as a medium.
That is really interesting. So you had never yourself been to a medium or had curiosity or seen mediums on TV. It was only that as you were doing your doctoral work, then you suddenly you went, oh, that's what's happening. So
Yeah.
were you being visited? Many of us have sort of as our gateway experience to mediumship the experience of being visited or having people that we know are dead turn up to have conversations with us in the bedroom late at night or something like that. Did you have something like that happen for you?
No, for me, it never really happened in that way. And I think that I had a very strong fear of anomalous experiences that were very direct. I had anomalous experiences. Apparently, we grew up in what would be referred to as a haunted house. She was a lovely spirit and she was very motherly. But she did appear to me one night when I was back from college. So it was, and there were instances when we were kids, as my siblings and I would be experiencing things, we'd kind of crosstalk about that. But everything for me was really just, it was more of a peripheral sort of understanding that there is more to reality than what we can see.
Ah,
And so I think that they've been very gentle with me. I think it's almost like they knew that if they were too direct, I would just really shut down.
yes, yes. And I do think spirits sometimes that's the way they are. They know how much we can take. And I have certainly had instances where I was being visited and they could tell that I was freaking out or starting to get afraid, and they have pulled back.
Back
And of
away.
course, and this goes for our listeners too, if you ask them to leave, they will. And if you ask them to leave and not come back, they will.
Yeah.
So it's important to realize that we are always the ones sort of in control, even when we're having these experiences that you mentioned, anomalous. And I will say, you said something in your bio about, I'm a lover of all things anomalous. So can you explain for our viewers here, what do you mean by anomalous experiences, first of all? And do you want to give us a couple of examples of things that have happened to you that are inexplicable in this way?
Um, let's see if well, for anomalous would be anything that, the way I would define it is anything that's out of um, the realm of normal,
Mm.
that's unusual, serendipitous, synchronous.
Mm.
It's things that happen that don't seem to have a rational or logical explanation, but are curious or are meaningful in some way. They spark you in some way. So dreams can fall into that category. and information in dreams, and then encountering somebody in a dream and then running into them on the street the next day, kind of thing. Those are what I would term kind of anomalous experiences. And I love them because they are actually showing us this this breadth of of the realm of our mind.
Yes.
And so that to me is what is fascinating. Let me see if I can give a couple of examples. Let me see. I've had many very, very unusual, like off the charts unusual, which I wouldn't normally bring those up because people are like, oh my heavens, those are very weird, kind of. But so I don't know. I don't really have an immediate example, Carolyn, of what I would say.
No, that's fine. I'm going to actually move it because you mentioned something very interesting, which is about dreams and experiences we have in our dreams. And I know that you have studied dream work quite intensively with a very well known scholar of dreams, and we all have dreams. I think it's one of those things that fascinates everybody because I don't think there's a person exists that has not had a dream that was startling or amazing or that told us something that predicted something. I mean, dreams are pretty magical, and apparently we have many of them each and every night. So, can you share a little bit about your work with dreams, and particularly now, if I were to come to you for a treatment or a healing treatment or something, would you work with my dreams? And if so, how does that kind of thing work when you're working with clients?
Um, Dreams, I think, do what mediums do, consciously. Dreams provide that venue when we're subconsciously or in a dream state.
Mhm.
And so dreams are really powerful mechanisms. It's a powerful means to get to the heart of something.
Yes.
It's like it cuts right to the quick. And I love it because there's all this imagery and there's this juxtaposition of imagery. And it's very much how I'll do my mediumship, where there's a lot of information that's coming through, and it's almost dreamlike in that you're looking, when you're discerning a dream, you're looking at what direction were they walking, what color were they, what was the scene, what was the, there are all these different things that are making up this little movie scene, and all of which have some sort of meaning or potency. And so that when I work with people and they bring their dreams into it, it's a very, very powerful way of kind of getting to something that they may not even really be conscious of. But when you remember a dream, it means you're ready to be conscious of it. It's ready to
Ah.
come in
Mm.
to, and as soon as you recognize it, that's when you can start working on things. So when you pull apart the symbols in the dream and all of the things, all of the issues and how it relates to your current life and all of that, suddenly you have this field of just potency to work with, to tease apart, to and ultimately to heal.
Wow. That is so powerful. And I will point out that, Krista, if you're feeling intrigued as you listen, I will say that Krista has a healing practice in which she offers mediumship and dream work and all of these different kinds of consultations and healing work. So, actually, I'd like you to talk a little bit now about your mediumship, Krista. So, if I came to you and I was hoping to hear from a deceased loved one, for example, is this the kind of work you do? Tell me a little bit about the kind of mediumship that you do.
Okay. I was trained as an evidential medium. So, but I felt that the framework for evidential mediumship was a little constrictive because you just have to stick with the evidence.
So, can you just, for people who don't know what that means, can you explain what is evidential mediumship? What is that?
Evidential mediumship is when I make contact with a spirit, and the information that I'm bringing through is information that you can identify with because you knew the spirit when they were in physical form. Now they're in non-physical form. So I'm giving you very specific details about them when they were living their life in physical form, so that it's verifiable, you know who you've got. And usually evidential information, mediumship really stops there. It's just a lot of evidence, and you don't really move beyond that. And for me, when I was training, I thought, well, it seems to be missing something. And for me, it's like, well, why is my grandmother coming through? I would want to know what it is that she had to say to me. And again, same with the dream. There's such a parallel aspect to those realities. With mediumship, they're getting right to the heart of something that you're working on right now. It's like very immediate. And it's all for the purposes of healing and wholeness. So it really is it the evidence, when you see a really excellent evidential medium, it's incredible how accurate they are. And I think it's really important. It's a very, very important skill because our mediumship is prefaced on the continuance of consciousness. And when you provide somebody evidence that they would know that you couldn't possibly know as the medium, it enables them to expand their thinking.
That's right.
About the possibility that our spirit continues, and that our spirit evolves, and that spirits stay connected, that we actually do live in a mindful universe. And when we are no longer embodied, that doesn't mean we're gone, that there's still connection and interest and assistance.
Yes, that's so important. And just knowing that is healing for people who come to see us, which brings me to my last question. I know that you also offer trance healing and trance consultations. So, do you want to talk a little bit about your healing work?
Well, the trance is different in that with the mediumship, the medium really stays as an intermediary. I'm blending with spirit, and I'm telling you what spirit is giving to me. But with trance, me as the medium, I move further out of the way so that spirit can really move in, and I allow spirit, my space, my auric field, to be able to communicate, which is often the way with me, or to be able to move energy in the way that is needed.
Nice.
And so it's a different sort of session, but the power in the trance work is that you as the recipient feel what is happening. So it's moving out of necessarily just processing information into what is happening in your field around you and in your mind, things dropping in, calming effects, just releases, feeling releases from your body. It's a very different sort of experience.
Yes.
Very powerful.
Yes. And I would say that if someone, and you can tell me if this isn't the case for your clients, but that if a person comes to you seeking a trance session and you go into trance, not only do you go into trance, but they will also experience that deep relaxation and that deep not as deep as you, obviously, but they will experience that resonance with your trance that will put them into a very deep state of knowing and, as you say, releasing and healing. That is very important.
Yeah, I think that happens because you are not having to process as much information.
Mm-hmm.
And so you start to feel yourself moving into a slightly altered state, which would be a similar state to when you're meditating or
Right.
during prayer or just before you fall to sleep, in the hypnopompic state where just everything relaxes and you become very receptive.
Mm.
And that's why it's really very important for the client to feel comfortable and to trust what's happening, because then they much more readily can relax
Yes.
into and become receptive.
That's
Which,
lovely.
yeah.
Exactly. So, my dear, we're coming down to the end of the interview. I hope that you guys out there in Carolyn's Psychic Playroom are feeling as interested as I am in finding out more about Krista and possibly having a session with Krista, letting her interpret your dreams, helping you answer your spiritual questions, connect with your departed loved ones. She has many, many gifts and talents. So, how can people find you if they would like to find out more about what the things that you do?
Well, I have a website. I'm incorporated. I'm really full on company now. Um, the Krista Vibe is the name of my company. And so the website is thekristavibe.com. And my email address is thekristavibe@gmail. So that's how people can, and I have a lot of information on the website that describes my process and a big about me page. And so people can get a lot of information there. And then there's an opportunity to just send a message. And also I offer a 20-minute free consultation, free little, just to get a sense of how it feels to work with me and to get more of a sense of how it would suit someone's needs.
That's very good. Yeah. So you don't have to invest right away. You can talk to Krista, you can find out, you can dialogue, and then once you meet her, I know you are going to love her. So I want to thank you so much for being my guest today. This was fabulous. And so once again, Krista's website, thekristavibe.com. And I'll paste a little scrolling thing there down below, and you can go to her website. You can sign up for a free consultation, and you can also find out more about her and all the many things she offers. So thank you so much for joining me, Krista, and we will talk
Carolyn.
again soon.
I loved it.
Bye
Thank
for
you.
now.
Bye.
Hi, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed that interview as much as I did. She is a fabulous medium, healer, wise woman, and as you can see, just an amazingly interesting person. So if you would like to find out more about Krista, maybe schedule a session with her or whatever, visit her website, which is www.thekristavibe.com. So, once again, we come to the end of another fun-filled episode of Carolyn's Psychic Playroom. I hope that you are enjoying these. I have a ball putting it together. As you know, we have moved to a quarterly format, so I will see you again in June for the summer, which is always fun, right? So the summer. But in the meantime, have a wonderful, wonderful spring and just enjoy yourself. Remember the message of the card that we received today, Soul Star Activation. Keep that in mind and onward and upward. This is Carolyn Marie Wilkins signing off for now. Talk to you in the summer.
Thoughts are things with the energy to make life better for you and for me. Touch the light.